I've been a Mac user since, well, my whole life. I've used a lot of really good apps, a lot of really bad apps, but there's about 20 Mac apps that I can't live without, and I'm going to show them to you. There are a lot of awesome settings in macOS hidden behind the command line. You need to find these terminal commands online and then run them in the terminal in order to enable these settings. And while sure, you can get a lot of views on YouTube by making these videos, it's really not the best way. TinkerTool is a free app that takes all of these hidden settings and puts them inside of a GUI. You can toggle them on and off, no command line required. It's really awesome. Let me show you some of the features that I use that I honestly can't use a Mac without anymore. First up, we have the dock. The dock is great, but the problem with the dock in my mind is that it takes up a lot of screen real estate, so I leave it hidden, but then it takes so long to summon the dock. If we turn on these three options, you're going to see three things that are game changers in macOS. The first one is that now when I drag my mouse cursor over, the dock instantly appears. There's no longer a delay for the dock to show, and then the animation, it's non-existent. So you drag your mouse over, it's up. You move it away, it's gone. This is awesome at getting the dock in and out of your way really quickly. Secondly, it does another thing where if I hide this application, which I do often, rather than minimize windows, sometimes I do, but it depends on my workflow. I usually press Command H to hide the application entirely. This app now becomes translucent in the dock, so I know that the dock is open because of the indicator dot, but I also know that it's not in the foreground and there's not any windows floating around that have been minimized or are in full screen in another space. So it's really great to be able to have that there. There are a lot of other features. A couple of the others that I really, really like are, okay, look, you should use Time Machine, okay? Backups are good. But if you don't have Time Machine set up, every time you plug in an SSD or basically any storage device, it's going to say, hey, do you want to use this volume as a Time Machine backup drive? You can turn that notification off so that it stops bothering you about it. That's a handy one. Appearance. This is one I really, really, really love. Dark mode is great, and I'm someone who uses light mode during the day and dark mode during the night. But there are still a number of applications that I sometimes want in light mode all the time. You can do that inside of the appearance setting here. Then, this is my last favorite. It's such a simple thing. It's a backspace key can be used to navigate back in Safari. That used to be a thing. Now it's gone. You can put it back. You go into Safari, you hit the backspace key, and you go back a page. Really, really handy. And well, that's just a few of the many, many, many settings inside of TinkerTool. It's free, it's easy to use, it's easy to revert to. Check it out. This video is sponsored by Private Internet Access. You have heard us talk about them before on this channel, and you've no doubt heard from YouTubers all over the reasons to use a VPN. So today, I'm going to talk about why you specifically want PIA. Number one, they support simultaneous connections for up to 10 devices, which is far more than your average VPN. Number two, I have personally had greater success unblocking Disney Plus and Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, etc. overseas. Number three, a kill switch cuts any unsecured traffic in and out of your machine in the rare occasion that your VPN connection drops. Number four, they never log anything ever. Number five, they support a number of payment options, including cryptocurrency. Number six, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. And number seven, this is the best one, Snazzy Labs viewers can sign up for 3 years at just $2.08 per month, with 2 extra months free. Give PIA a try today to support internet hygiene and, of course, Snazzy Labs. CheatSheet is so simple, but so amazing. You know on the iPad when you hold down the command key and it shows you kind of like a list of the hotkeys that you can run? That's mostly because, well, there's no menu bar, and so you can't see the items and their corresponding hotkeys. But CheatSheet brings that same feature to the Mac, and it's amazing. If you hold down the Option key for long enough, it brings up this big, huge registry of every single hotkey that you can run inside of the app you're using. Furthermore, if you see the command you want to run, well, you just tap it, and it runs. It's freaking awesome. ImgOptim is one of those free apps that I would almost pay unlimited money for, and the way to best explain it is to just show it to you. I'm going to take these files, 21.4 megabytes, 18.5, 6, and 3.8 megabytes, and I'm going to drag them into ImgOptim. Basically, what this app is doing is stripping out all of the unnecessary data from within that image file without compromising on picture quality. So it's stripping out comments and thumbnails, private EXIF data, etc., without touching the actual quality of the image. Sometimes it only saves, 5-ish%, but usually on PNGs, especially these larger ones, it's going to save a ton of space. It's really, really cool. It uses a surprising amount of horsepower inside your computer, and the results are amazing. Now, there are a lot of features. You can, for example, reduce the quality if you want, but I literally just leave it at optimize. Give me the exact same photo, just a lot smaller. Look at that one, 59% saved. Oh, what a great app. Dropzone is an app that's relatively new to me, but it's really powerful, and I am a big fan. Basically, what it does at the ground level is it acts as a zone where you can drop or hold files, links, documents, whatever you want until you're ready to act upon them. It doesn't move them. It doesn't change their name. It leaves them in exactly the same spot until you want to do something with those files. Now, you can do something completely unrelated to Dropzone with these files, but I'm going to do something related to Dropzone, obviously. So move them from where they are now, no matter where they are on the disk, to the Downloads folder. And if I go to the Downloads folder, there they are. Conversely, you can act on them in other ways, like I can open them in ImgOptim, and they're automatically opening and minimizing in size, which is really cool. But you can go even further with Dropzone thanks to third-party actions. I can take any file, drag it onto the email thing. It will compose a new email with that file as an attachment. Or no matter where I am, I don't need to be in the Finder. I can drag something onto this airdrop icon and it will automatically airdrop it to someone that I select. Imgur, I can upload full resolution files. If I'm on YouTube, I can drag the URL over into YTDL and it will download the YouTube video. It's really amazing. But this is kind of the flashiest feature, okay? I'm going to download OmniDisk Sweeper. This is an application that has long been used to clean your local disk, your SSD, of files that you don't want anymore. Okay, so I'm going to take this disk image file and I am going to drag it over onto install. Now watch what happens. It is going to mount the DMG, and once I accept the terms and conditions of the app, it's going to move the app into the application folder, automatically open the app, and it ejected the DMG file and deleted the app. It's done. Oh, that's so freaking cool. Dropzone, it's awesome. This next one is a short one. IINA. I have set it as my default media player for basically everything. It's replaced QuickTime for me, and it's certainly replaced LMedia, VLC, and other third-party apps. This app can basically just handle any file type you throw at it. It looks and it acts like QuickTime. It uses similar commands. It has this very, very, very nice playhead scrubber. It has touch bar and trackpad gestures, native picture-in-picture, online subtitles. I mean, the list goes on. It is a really awesome media player that it replaces everything for me. And it's free and open source. What more do you need? Okay, so this next one's kind of cheating because it's not a Mac app. It is a Swift UI iPad app that is running on my M1 Mac, and it is Overcast. It's my favorite podcast client of choice. While not the most beautiful looking podcast client anymore, it is the most functional in my opinion. Its smart speed feature is better than anything else. The voice boost comes in handy when you're listening to a podcast with poorly recorded audio. It is so much more feature rich than the stock Mac app that it's kind of unbelievable. If you like podcasts at all, give Overcast a shot on any iOS device or M1 Mac. It is superb. This next app is Alfred, and if you've watched my channel, you know how much I care about Alfred. This is the one app that I truly cannot use a Mac without. It is the best Mac app ever made, and it is the first app that I install on every new Mac. In short, it's just an app launcher. But it's not, because it's so much more powerful than that. Think Spotlight, but on crack. You can see how quick it is. For example, I don't know, let's say I want to search Amazon for 13-gallon, there you go, 13-gallon trash bags. Done. Let's say I want to check my clipboard history. Well, I can do that. Here it is. And if I want to recopy something to the clipboard, there you go. Boom, it's done. What if I want to define a word? Bread. There we go. It's a food made of flour, water, and yeast, or another leavening agent. Cool. Let's say I want to do some basic calculation, like the square root of 144. Oh, there you go. It's 12. What if I want to open up a mini music player to play my iTunes library without having to actually, open iTunes and deal with that whole shenanigans, or Apple Music or whatever you call it nowadays. Then there's a number of workflows that can make this app even more powerful. Again, I barely scratched the surface. There is so much crap you can do with Alfred. It would blow your mind. Let's say I want to see what the price of Ethereum is. There you go. Let's say I want to convert 1 gigabyte into gigabytes. There you go. Let's say I want to say 120 plus, 34%. There you go. Let's say I want 12.4% of 34. There you go, 4.21. It gets even more powerful. Let's say I want to add a calendar event to Fantastical, which is my calendar of choice. So let's add a new personal event, and let's call it walk dog. I'm going to walk the dog on Thursday at 2 p.m. Remind me 20 minutes before, and I'm going to do it at Liberty Park. Boom. We're done. I mean, come on, man. It's freaking awesome. What else can I do? I can run a speed test. Sure, why not? Okay, it's running a speed test now, and it's using speedtest.net servers through the command line. Okay, it's done. 935 megabits per second down, 890 up. Alfred is so incredibly powerful, it would blow your mind. I've talked about like maybe 5 things that Alfred can do, and it can do hundreds of things. It is amazing. It is the best app ever made, and it will change the Mac for you. It is transformative. Get it, please. All right, this next one is one that I admittedly don't use as much anymore now that I'm out of school, but I do still use it a couple of times per month, and it is indispensably handy, which is why I still consider it a crucial app in my lineup, and that is Mathpix. Basically what this is it is an application that does OCR recognition of handwritten or typed text, and turns it into actually kind of copy and pastable data that is actionable. So this is pretty handy. Obviously, you can see the OCR. It lets you copy that data in a number of different formats for either web viewing, for putting it inside of a Word doc. You can see the original and modify it if you need to. You can search the web for that exact equation or solution that you're searching, which is pretty freaking awesome. And then it can solve it as well if you'd like, which this one is, it's not going to solve this because there's no solution. But if we did, I don't know, basic algebra equation test. Okay. And yeah, sure. I don't know. Here we go. These are stupid. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Let's do this one. So here we go. We're going to go multiply and boom. It's taking a second. Computers are dumb. Silly computer. There you go. That's freaking awesome. You get 100 free snips per month if you're a student. If you're not a student, you get 53 snips per month. And so even though it's not technically free, it's effectively free unless you're doing hundreds or thousands of snips per month, which even if you're a student, you're probably not. Mathpix, it's friggin' sweet. All right, so this next one's kind of a cop-out, but I'm going to unashamedly admit that I use it. It's called Mockuuups Studio, and it might be good for bad YouTubers, but it's mostly focused, I think, at web developers and app developers who want a bunch of mock-ups of their website or their product or whatever, but don't want to go and spend a bunch of time in Photoshop or don't want to hire someone. Basically what happens is you take the photo that you'd like to be made into a mock-up, and you can click it, and there you go. It visualizes that photo on all of these different devices. And you can change whether or not you want it to be, a MacBook, whether or not you want hands to be there. Female hands. Here you go. It's pretty cool. And these are high resolution. It's free if you want lower resolution and you're not going to use it commercially. If you are going to use it commercially, I think it's like $15 a month, but I just get it through SetApp. And so it's basically free. And wow, what a great way for lazy people to make thumbnails. Okay, full disclosure, this next app is from a podcaster and friend, John Siracusa, but it's one that I paid for and I use frequently. It's called Front and Center. Apple screwed everything up this year with macOS 11, but macOS 10 was around for 20 years. And a behavior that macOS 10 adopted that a lot of people didn't like was the active window behavior. So right now I'm in Safari and I have a couple of Finder windows behind. Who knows? I might have more underneath this window. In macOS 10 and 11 and 12, when you click this window, just that window becomes the active window and the other Finder windows stay behind the Safari window. Now I can bring them to the front by pressing Command and then tilde to make them the active window. Or conversely, I can click here and then click the Finder app, and now they'll all unveil themselves. But the classic behavior, the behavior that was present prior to macOS 10, and the behavior that most old people like John still like, is wherein the windows all unveil themselves at the same time. I'm not old, and so I don't like that. But one thing I do appreciate about front and center is that you can toggle the opposite behavior by holding Shift anytime you hit a window. So right now, if I press this window, just one comes up as macOS 10 does. But if I go back and now I hold Shift down as I click this window, all of those windows come to the front. It's handy as a modifier and a toggle when you know you want to see all of the app's windows, but don't want to go fully back to macOS Classic. But if you're a weirdo and you do, the app does that too. Front and center, it's really simple, but it's really handy for macOS's, in my opinion, quite poor window management. In macOS Mojave, Manjaro, Snow Leopard, what's it called? In Monterey and in iOS 15, there's this new feature called Live Text. And it's basically optical character recognition. You can, pull text out of a physical image rather than, selectable text. But it only works in a couple of different applications, and it's kind of spotty at best when the AI detects that it's there. TextSniper is, in my opinion, still a better solution. And you invoke it by pressing Shift Command 2, which if you've ever taken a screenshot is pretty much the same way you take a screenshot. You have the same tools that you have when you take a screenshot, which is handy. And if I want to copy Japan's racing gamer grandpa, I can select that. But instead of taking a screenshot, it copies that text to my clipboard, and I can just paste it. It's really, really, really great. There are other modifier keys you can do, for example. So let's say if I do this command, I'm not going to tell you because it doesn't matter. The gasket no atom can pass. Now, instead of, retaining the line breaks like it did the original time, you can just paste it in, one unformatted go. It's really handy. It's so simple, but really powerful. The optical character recognition is best in class. Oh, you can also read QR codes and barcodes. I've done that before too, where a stupid website will be like, hey, here's a QR code. And you're like, great, I don't want to pull my phone out. Don't make me scan that. Just give me a link. Problem solved. TextSniper, it's awesome. Get it. Remember when we were talking about front and center and I said that I didn't like macOS's window management? Well, that's true. I think Windows actually does a much better job. And there have been apps that have come out over the last several years, many of them, that try and emulate basically Windows style. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. I use one called Magnet. It's not free, it is paid. And I don't really know that it's necessarily better than Spectacle, which was a free one that's now discontinued, or Better Touch Tool and Better Snap Tool, which are free and or cheap and are currently still up to date. But the thing I like about Magnet is I learned how to use it, and I bought it once in the Mac App Store for 5 years ago, and it still works amazingly. So it works basically like Windows, where you can drag the window to the left or to the right or the top, and it will automatically resize accordingly. But the other thing that I like about it is that there are a bunch of hotkeys where you can resize the window to your heart's content. So I can make it narrow, I can make it really wide, I can put it in the top half, I can put it in the left. There's just a lot of options inside of Magnet. And again, it's super easy to do. It's not like Better Touch Tool and Better Snap Tool where you open the app and you feel like you need to read 9 pages on the GitHub. It's stupidly easy to use. And that's what I like about it. It's $8. It's not free, but it's good. If you don't want it, I don't care. It's up yours, man. But if you do want it, cool. I also don't care. I'm just telling you that I like it. Okay, get off my back. Magnet. Have you ever tried to email a PDF and you're like, why is this thing 20 megabytes? I don't think it's going to send. I think email is going to break. It should be smaller. Yeah, you need PDF Squeezer. This thing is great. Let me take an example here. This is a textbook that I definitely paid for and did not download off the internet. And it's 122 megabytes, which, as you can probably tell, is pretty large. I'm not even going to go maximum compression over here. Okay, I'm just going to do medium. And watch this shiz. It's going to tell you how many pages there is, how many images it's identified, how many annotations there are, the minimum image resolution, 103 dpi, come on, and maximum image resolution. And then it basically just smashes that down as best it can. Okay, so it reduced it by 57%. If I did strong compression, and you get very, very, very minimal image loss. It is existent, but it's so little. you're really not going to tell a difference on basically anything other than like really high resolution photos. So yeah, pretty much McGraw-Hill, I don't know what you're doing other than like selling students the same book year over year, but you could make your 155 megabyte textbook 21.4. It's great. Get it. Not the textbook, PDF squeezer. Smart home. I have one. I love it. But the Home app on the Mac is, I don't know why, but it is like one of the worst apps ever made. It's legitimately terrible. And so there's this $10 app that's a little expensive for what it does, but I think it's really great. It's called HomeControl. And basically what it does is, well, it allows you to control all of the smart devices in your home without having to open the Home app. You just do it right from the menu bar, and it's really handy. You can change your heat, your temperature, your window openness, your whatever you want. You can see your sensor data. It's really handy. It's really great. I'm going to vacuum the house right now. If you've ever wasted 50 gigabytes of data by clicking through to The Verge's homepage, you know that ads, they kind of suck, right? Because they have auto-playing video, a lot of times there's sound, they move your content around, and so it's just hard to like see where you're going. Ads suck, and they've ruined the web. But at the same time, it makes me feel bad to use an ad blocker, because Dieter writes good articles, and he should be able to have food, and clearly when I'm doing this, I'm taking that opportunity away from them. There's a solution. And I also think that this prevents Dieter from getting food, but like The Verge has allowed for this, and so I don't feel bad at all. It's called an RSS reader, and RSS readers have been around forever, but they're finally getting more mass market appeal, and they're not just for nerds anymore. Basically what it does is it's an aggregated news feed. And so you can select you can create your own folders from your own news sources. And most websites that run on blogging engines like WordPress or Drupal or whatever, you plug the website in and it'll say, hey, do you want all articles from The Verge or just reviews or just articles from the science section or whatever? And you can curate your own news feed. News articles come in when they're posted. You can read the article without any ads, without any distractions. There's consistent text across the entire app from website to website. It's very, very quick. If you do want to open the website, well, you can, and you can view the full article there. But it's really great. And all of these websites allow for this. Like they create RSS feeds. This is allowed. It's not bad. You can do this without feeling morally bankrupt. Even though I'm still not technically looking at The Verge's ad. Sorry, Dieter. Bartender is simple but great. The macOS menu bar is ugly as crap, and there's no consistency in design. Like, what the heck is this Synology? It's ginormous and like very ugly. I don't like it. And when you have a lot of applets, they just get really crowded up here. Bartender allows you to streamline stuff down. So there's kind of 3 levels that you can organize stuff in. If you hold down the options key, it allows you to configure them. So you can have certain apps that are always outside of Bartender. They're always visible. Then you have the ones that are hidden inside of this menu when you click it. And then you have certain apps that are always hidden. Sorry, Creative Cloud, I never want to see you get out of my sight. A lot of these apps, you literally can't make them go away. And so Bartender is a way to make them hide when they refuse to hide on their own. And the end result is, well, check it out. I have this app now outside of Bartender. These apps are inside Bartender. And then on the rare occasion that I need to get access to stupid Creative Cloud, I can just click through it here. It's really great, Bartender. It's kind of expensive, but it's worth it. Password managers. They're a thing. We've been telling you for years to get a freaking password manager. Why do you still not have one? Now, you probably do. Most people do nowadays. But I use 1Password, and there is a reason why I use it. I've used LastPass before. I've used Dashlane before. Both of those services have gotten really poopy. And one of the things I really appreciate about 1Password is AgileBits, the developer, they don't seem to be chasing VC money or like rapid expansion. They're just happy making a good app. Now, there are other options out there that are less money. Bitwarden is relatively new and really popular. It's open source. It's crazy cheap or free if you kind of self-host and have some limitations. 1Password is legitimately expensive by comparison. But there's a reason I still pay for it. And it's beyond the app looking really pretty, which it does. And Bitwarden looks like butt on the Mac. Sorry, it's just the truth. Couple things. Number one, the emergency kit is provided, which basically gives kind of legacy protection. So if you die, no one wants to die, but everyone's going to die. If I die, inside of my safe that my wife can access. There's a bunch of information and details on how she can get access to my 1Password account, how to get in touch with 1Password for assistance, et cetera, et cetera. It's really handy for kind of legacy purposes. Number 2, family sharing. Again, my wife and I, we share a lot of logins, and her asking me, hey, what's the Netflix password again? It gets tiring, and you don't want to have to, share, text the password and whatever. We just have stuff that we're going to both need in the same vault. Whenever I update the password, it updates in her app. That's really handy. Next, this is a big one. There's 1Password integration. Alfred integration. So I can type 1P LTT. This is going to navigate to Linus Tech Tips, automatically log me in, and it does 2-factor authentication. I mean, come on, man. And then the last thing that I really, really appreciate, it's got privacy.com integration. They've been a past sponsor, but they're not anymore. They don't give me money. So up them, it's not an insult, doesn't make sense. But yeah, up them, privacy, but I still use their service. Basically, it generates churnable credit cards that you can use to sign up for services that you don't actually want to pay for, and you don't want to have to worry about canceling a free trial when you're ordering stuff kind of, from sketchy websites. Like, it's great to just be able to generate a one-time use or a limited credit card number. And 1Password allows you to generate privacy cards inside of the app and inside of the browser, which is really handy. And then you can store just freaking like everything. Social security numbers, bank accounts, medical records. It's really great for just having everything important without having to be like, oh yeah, my tax documents are here and whatever. You can store files. It's great. 1Password is awesome. And if you are even remotely interested in a password manager, which you should be, because again, we've been telling you for years, I think 1Password is the one to get. I hate calendars and I hate planning and I've never liked it, but I need to be an adult and be better. So I've been using Fantastical for the last 6 months to a year, and I really like it. It's made me hate calendars less. Don't get me wrong, I still hate them, but less. This is an unquestionably expensive app. And there's a lot of people that are super pissed because they used to be, version based and now they're subscription based, like pretty much everyone. So if you can't stomach the price, I can totally understand that. And for my uses, I'm probably not even remotely using part, if not most, of the value that this app offers. It offers like scheduling, and you can attach files and a bunch of crazy stuff to calendar events that a lot of other apps can't do. But I like it for a couple reasons. It has this ticker view, which is really handy for me to not only see the weather, which is handy, but also see apps in kind of a to-do list type style rather than a more traditional calendar style. If you are one of those people that has like tons of stuff, their week and day views have been very, very popular for people. I don't have meetings. I don't have like big adult things to do. My calendar events are like mostly one thing a day, but it's really great. It uses natural language. I did that demo earlier. If you didn't see that, go back and watch it. It's just, it's a cool app and I really like it. And I know that, basically most people will laugh and say, bah, you're dumb, because you don't do calendars. Well, is this video over yet? Don't look at my notes, man. As you might have surmised from my previous Fantastical section, I'm not very organized. I've never been organized, and it's just not really how my brain works. There are a lot of people that are crazy organized and invest a lot of time spending all of their day planning out what they want to do. I'm not mocking those people. It really does work for them. It just doesn't work for me. There are apps like Roam Research and Obsidian that are like these massive conglomerative databases where you can organize data. If you've ever looked at Notion and been like, yeah, that's overwhelming, it's like Notion times 50. Okay, Notion is easy. This is actually pretty close to Notion. I used to use a writing app called Ulysses. And that's where I would write all my scripts. And I liked Ulysses because it was a good writing app, but it was a bad everything else app. Craft is, I'm kind of using it as a writing app, but I'm also using it as a notes app and mind mapping app. So let me explain to you. I came in here, I made this video, I typed out some little thoughts and ideas, and then I just kind of splurted it out all on the paper, right? Then when I actually wanted to make an organized list that I could work through to actually explain this video to you, I made this. What's cool about all of this is that this is completely searchable from a database level. And I can even go into further detail. So let's say like TinkerTool, because I'm working on a big project. So TinkerTool, I want to go specifically into TinkerTool and say, I love TinkerTool because blah, blah, blah. That's all associated with this parent note, but it's also searchable from the entire database. So if I search love, there you go. It shows all of the areas where love shows up inside of my database. So there we go. TinkerTool free. It sorts by highest. You can add a bunch of very pretty formatting. So you can like, look at this. I'm going to put this in a focus block and then we're going to make it, green. And isn't that pretty? It's really, really, really good for note taking and organization. I wish I had this in college, and I'm actually using it to put together research for specific videos. I used to just throw URLs into a text document. I would lose them. I would not pay attention. And now it's really good because I can extract specific stuff I want from Safari, like a quote, like a line, and then I run a hotkey and it makes a new note and it links it to the parent note. It's a really powerful app and I'm barely scraping the surface. I still don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm certainly not using it to its entire capabilities, but it's very, very cool. Another feature that I really like in theory, I haven't really used it, but I know a lot of people that do, they create daily notes. And this is cool because, well, I am going to use this to brain dump. So when I plan in the morning, I kind of just need to let my brain run for a second. And I'm going to just type out like all of the things that are on my mind. And then once I've typed out a big, huge blurb of crap, I'm going to say, okay, what of this is actually actionable? What can I do today? And then I'm going to try and actually do that stuff in a more organized to-do list. But what I know a lot of people do is legitimately make like calendar events. So they'll say like, on July 17th, I don't remember how to do this, date. Yeah. So you say like, tomorrow, I'm going to go eat beans with Jan. And then it'll create a note in tomorrow. So when I go to tomorrow, which is Tuesday the 13th, it's going to say, hey, there's a link to this page. And I can show it. And it's from today. And it's go eat beans with Jan. So this thing is like almost like a to-do list and a calendar app and everything. It's real powerful, but I'm mostly just using it as a way to organize my research and write videos. If that's at all remotely interesting to you, you should definitely check it out. It is crazy powerful. I can't even really lick the surface, but yeah, it's craft. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you didn't, I suppose that other button seems to work okay too. Get subscribed for more awesome videos like this one, but most importantly, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.